Double digits.
We
Let's
made
go.
it to double digits.
You are excited.
I watched said that Justin Trudeau has been trying to tax your primary residence. There
Obviously,
would be
but-
huge uproar if that came to light.
It's going to be even more
More.
juicy.
I'm going to be in a
For-
loophole
for
tonight,
people-
guys.
King Charles. Had $1
Nice,
million
nice.
if I had a...
Yeah.
You remember it?
Yeah, of course I
Okay,
remember.
I feel like there's going to be a slightly smaller dip.
I think so too. I think spring 2025 is when we're gonna see a major upward
Yeah.
trend.
Dude, guess what, guys? I have some awesome news. Today, we're
So
talking about this.
it looks like it's coming to Canada. They indirectly pay commissions,
yeah.
guys.
They
Let's
do
not
not
let's not
indirectly.
get
We're not
they
getting into this right now.
indirectly pay commissions.
We're not getting into this right now.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yes, they do.
Double digits.
We
Let's
made it
go.
to double digits.
We're
I'm
here.
so excited. So I have to fix this.
You are excited. You got so excited when
know.
he said
Well,
10 and I said
10.
you were like, whoa.
double digits.
What's the
Yeah.
stat? Past episode 7. They're,
Seven.
like,
Yeah, every
Successful
we're
forever.
good.
We have beat the statistic.
Yep.
Perfect.
That's my goal, not to become a stat.
Yeah.
Or like you want to be a good
I'm
stat.
gonna be a good stat.
Yeah.
not
Or a
bad
good stat. Do
Yeah.
you want to hear a stat that you don't want to be?
Yeah.
90% of people after age 30 will never sprint ever again in their life.
Well, you should come
Really?
run with my Ryan because he's a runner. He'll
That's 90% of people. Is that what global?
That's the quote. That's the stat. Do you want to be that stat? People just stop sprinting after age 30.
like running. you
They'll
mean,
jog
like,
up to their
oh.
baby or something, but they won't be on a
Yeah, they'll
400
sprint
meter
if
track.
like something's on
Oh,
fire
no,
behind
I don't
them.
even do that now.
So are you gonna be? Are you okay? When was the last time you sprinted? When you were in elementary school, probably, right? Or high school?
Like I'll sprint like if I'm going on the treadmill, like working out, but like I'm not gonna go to a track and go
Are
sprint
you
for fun.
truly sprinting on the treadmill?
Yeah,
For,
Like
like,
you're
on-
boogieing at like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
7
Okay, but
speed.
you're also
Yeah,
a
yeah.
baby. You're not past 30 yet.
No, I'm
Ian.
not past 30.
Oh,
yet,
yeah.
but,
I'm talking about.
I'm not
Yeah,
sprinting right
yeah.
now. No.
So
but
when I
yeah.
heard that, I was like, oh my gosh. And sprinting is actually linked to longevity, and there's a lot of different things that they
Yep.
say it's good for. But I was like, oh my gosh, that's insane.
Yeah.
So
Oh, don't get me started about the amount of unhealthy people in the world, and all
Yeah.
it takes is just eating well and working out,
Yeah.
and you've got a healthy diet. You can like change diabetes by just changing your lifestyle and your eating habits and your working out. Like you can literally get rid of diabetes if you have
Yeah.
it. You don't have to be on medication.
Yeah, I think we were talking
crazy.
about this last time. My mom actually reversed her
Yeah.
diabetes.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
what you,
And then
you
the
brought
doctor,
it up. Yeah.
thought she was taking her medication. and she
Yeah.
was-
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
It's
But-
insane.
Yeah.
So we're on episode 10. We're not
We
a
are.
statistic.
Yes, sir.
We are not.
And we just had our first guest last
Yes.
week.
We did. Christy was here, and we're gonna have a lot more guests moving forward.
Yeah.
And
That was an awesome episode. If you guys haven't tuned into that one,
Yeah.
definitely check it out.
And today's episode is going to be even more
more.
juicy.
I don't know, man. Christy really topped it there. She gave a lot of golden nuggets, but
We got a couple good
we
topics
got a
on the
good
docket
couple
today.
topics. Yeah,
I
just
know.
a couple.
So what's going on, Alex? I know you you have it queued
yeah,
up.
I'm. Oh yeah, that. Are you talking about my belly or
Oh,
my
and
phone?
the
Yeah.
belly.
No, the belly's huge, guys.
He's
Belly.
coming.
He's coming. I got
Wow.
10 weeks left.
It's exciting.
But yeah, no, there's I don't know about you guys, but when I'm scrolling aimlessly through TikTok, it sees what you've been watching, and then obviously the algorithm puts more about
Yeah.
what you're watching on. And there's like 2 feeds that I've been watching, and I can't find any sort of articles or anything to back this up. But one of the people I watched said that Justin Trudeau has been trying to tax your primary residence.
I've heard that. I've heard that
But
over
is
the
it-
last couple of years too.
Because you don't get taxed, obviously, capital gains on your primary residence.
Correct.
You reap the fruits of the profits. And I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
So have you guys found anything? Because I remember I asked you guys, like,
I didn't find the exact article, but I did see a couple of clips on
Yeah.
like Instagram and TikTok
Like,
that were
if
referencing that.
anybody is listening to this, I would like to know if this is actually true or
Yeah.
false. Because what
So,
the hell is going? Did you find something?
I did pull something up. So
Okay.
the article says Trudeau won't give up on the idea of taxing your primary home. So in 2018, the fall of 2018, this is when the policy came out.
Okay.
It came forward through a party consultation. It called for a massive tax hike on the sale of homes. This is not investment properties. This is your primary home. And this is what the proposal was.
Okay.
The proposal called for a 50% tax on any profits from a home sale after 1 year of ownership, 25% after 2 years, 15% after 3 years, 10% after 4 years, and 5% after 5 years. And this was all in the name of fairness. That's how he's trying to push it forward.
You know what bothers me about tax is we are taxed on everything.
Yeah.
We get taxed on our income, but then whatever we buy, we get taxed on that as well. Like it's just like an ending cycle of tax. When we die, we have to pay tax. We're already dead. Why are we paying tax?
No, that's it. It basically means they're going to tax your home when you sell it,
Tax your home.
give it to somebody, or when you die.
I think the way that it's set up right now is pretty fair. So like if you purchase a residence that you're going to live in and then you decide to like flip it and sell it after 6 months, that gain is taxable.
Yes.
Because you have to live there for a year.
That's business.
But you have a lot of seniors right now that bought their houses, 20, 30 years ago that, are very close to or have paid their mortgage off, which is for a lot of people, if they're retired, that's more so their entire life savings, right? Yeah. So I don't think these people they're going to face the brunt of this all. And I don't think they should be penalized for that by paying a tax on their primary residence.
And that was in 2018, you said.
That was in 2018 when the policy came forward.
Yeah, I've been hearing about this like here and there for the last few years.
Yeah,
I don't think something like this will be passed. Like I think there's going to be way too much pushback. Like there's going to be like it'll heavily influence like people's decision to move. People are not going to move.
Yeah, people
they're going to try their best to do everything they can to stay in their current house, depending on their financial situation. Obviously,
there would be huge uproar if that came to light.
I think so. You have obviously the consumers that are going to be pissed off.
Yep.
You're going to have a flood of realtors that are going to be pissed off because a lot of business is going to be gone from people that won't even entertain.
And selling. I'm not selling. If I bought 2 years ago, I'm not going to sell until it's
no way.
Then I still have to pay
or the 5% bracket.
Then even paying 5% on your profits, like this is, it's crazy.
I think a lot of it is just talk, and obviously we have the election coming up next year, which is
why is it? No, it's this year, isn't it?
No, this is a U.S. election this year.
Oh, right.
I don't think it is talk. I think if we don't push back,
I think it is.
But why are people posting about it now? Like I'm seeing it come up on my TikTok and my Instagram feeds. Something had to have happened. I don't know if I'm missing it.
Didn't they just change the capital gains?
Well, the capital gains, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's what's triggering like the resurface of that article.
Yeah, and everything kind of happens in little steps. They have to kind of burn people slowly. They're not just going to throw somebody into a fire, right?
And that's another thing too right now with real estate I'm finding. Like I just had an offer out for clients and they didn't end up getting it because the seller had unrealistic expectations because it was an investment property. And they needed a certain amount because they would be making a gain of more than $250,000, but then they're taxed at 66% above it. So they're like, if I don't make this, then it doesn't make sense math wise. I might as well just keep it for another year.
Yeah.
Move, and it was just a big hassle, but the market value wasn't what they wanted, and it was frustrating because they're keeping it because of the capital gains tax.
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm finding that as well, not specific to the capital gains, but I'm just finding that I had an offer in as well a couple weeks ago for some first-time buyers in Cambridge, and all of a sudden the seller just got super unrealistic with their expectations. Like comparables were significantly under. Like the house was listed at $799. I feel like we gave them a pretty good offer, like very close, higher than what identical comparables sold for, and then all of a sudden she was at $820, which like there was no numbers to support that. There was no activity in that same neighborhood. And even the agent came out and said like she kind of pulled that number out of nowhere. It was never discussed prior.
It's crazy when even sellers and buyers, if buyers want to offer a certain price, if it's listed at, I don't know, I just had this listed at 2.5 and they want to offer at 2.1, but true market value is like 2.3, where are you bridging the gap between the seller and the buyer when the seller wants an unrealistic 2.5 and then the buyer wants 2.1. It's a $400,000 gap there.
100%.
And it's really hard because it's unrealistic on both sides.
Are you for or against primary properties being taxed?
I'm absolutely against it.
Absolutely against it.
It's a terrible
Who is
idea.
for it?
The government.
The government's
because
for
they can
it.
tax.
Because they printed so much money during COVID that they need to
I've never met.
Yeah.
I can't really see like an argument about obviously the government's for it because they'll get their tax money, but
get
for the
money.
consumer, for the real estate agents, like what benefit is there to taxing a primary residence?
Absolutely.
I think there's going to be way less sales. There's going to be way less
Way
money
less
going
sales,
around.
yeah.
But we're in a democracy. How would this even come to pass if the government represents the people? Who in the government would allow this to even move forward?
I think whenever
How
they
would it
do
even
like the
move
House
forward?
of Commons, or I think that's what it's called when they
Yeah.
do their
Yeah.
open,
Yeah.
I think it would be an uproar in that house
Yeah. I
think
if
so
this
too.
came as a bill. Like it would.
You know what Winston
It'd be
Churchill
huge.
famously said, Winston Churchill, I contend that for a nation to try to tax itself into prosperity is like a man standing in a bucket and trying to lift himself up by the handle.
Wow.
So, I think the biggest narrative that Trudeau is throwing out there is in fairness. He said these people need to be taxed. Primary homes need to be taxed in fairness, because there are a lot of people that are buying homes as primary residences and then they're renovating them and flipping them.
Yeah.
Not anymore,
That
but
I
during
get because
COVID.
they've caught most of those people, and they
Yeah, but-
implemented that. Like if you're going to be a flipper, that's a business.
So it
That's a
wasn't
business.
allowing, real hardworking people that were first-time home buyers to get into the market because they were driving the prices up.
Yeah.
They were buying these homes as primary residences, trying to obviously under their daughter's name or their son's name or a family member's name that hasn't bought in a home, renovating them within 3 months and then flipping them for like quadruple amount of the cost during COVID. How was that fair? It's not. But then
But I think now what they've implemented, I don't know when they implemented the
Oh, yeah.
rule that you have to live there for a year or have possession for a year. I think that's pretty fair.
I think
fair.
that is fair. That is fair because you are creating a business. You are either like a construction, like you're in construction, or you know the real estate business, the hustle to do that. You should be taxed on your business. Like every business has tax.
when did they implement that rule?
I don't know. I don't have
I
the
think
year
it was
off
a
the top
couple
of my
years
head.
ago, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but I think it became a big thing during COVID because a lot of that was happening. Like homes in Hamilton, for example, they bought them for dirt cheap and were getting a good price. But this is making my brain spin a little bit because when we're talking about tax, land transfer tax.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Now I want to look up like what is the amount that Toronto alone, because Toronto is double, right?
Yep.
If you're in those borderlines.
Yep.
Where is the municipality spending the tax that they're getting on land transfer tax? Where does that money go? Especially Toronto.
And it's huge.
It should be billions.
But luckily, the government gives us a little rebate.
Yeah, $4,000.
If you're a
Yeah.
first time
If you're a
buyer.
first-time buyer
Just
only.
joking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's double in Toronto as well.
Yeah. So I
You're paying the
wonder.
municipal and the provincial.
I think
where-
I'm pretty sure you get double. You get like 8,000 and change.
Yeah.
But
in
when you're
Toronto.
do you know how much land transfer tax is on an $800,000 house in Toronto? I have the number.
Is it
in my
20 and change?
no, higher.
Yeah.
25?
24,000, like $400 or
Yeah.
$450.
That's with or
Yeah.
without the rebate.
That's without the rebate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
huge.
That's a lot
for
of money.
$800,000.
And you gotta have that money. You gotta have that money available in
Yeah.
addition to your down payment.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even in Oakville because Oakville luxury properties $3 million, you have to be having like 50 to 60,000 for land transfer tax. Where is that tax going? That money going when it goes to the I don't even know where it goes.
Yeah.
Oh my
Okay,
god, I'm gonna be in a
for-
loophole
for
tonight, guys,
people
on the internet
watching
looking at
right
this.
now that don't know what land transfer tax is. Can you
Oh, yes.
explain in very basic, like explain it to me like I'm a dummy. What is land transfer tax? Who pays it? And when is it paid?
So the buyer pays the land transfer tax, and there's a certain amount calculated. So I don't know it off the top of my head, but
marginal,
from 0 to let's say
55,000.
250,000 is X amount, 250,000 and $1 to a certain amount is another amount, and then anything over, let's say, I don't know, 400,000 is taxed at a certain amount.
Yeah.
Right. So then that's how it's calculated.
So you're telling me the whole point of the land transfer tax in a real estate transaction is just for the government to tax the buyer a certain amount of money just because the title is changing from one person's name to another person's
Pretty
name.
much.
So they're
Correct.
taxing you as the buyer
Yes.
X amount of dollars because you're putting the title in your name.
Yes, because
that money's now
if
going
you
to
really
them.
want to go back like years and years and years and years and years, the land is crown land,
Okay.
right? So you're paying the crown to own that land,
Ah.
right? That's basically what
King
it is.
Charles.
So then something I just thought of as well is now a few months ago or a year ago they implemented the luxury tax in Toronto.
In Toronto.
So homes over $3 million, I believe.
Yep.
You now pay an additional tax on top of your land transfer tax.
Yep.
And we're turning into
tax everywhere.
We're transitioning into a market where $3 million is soon not even going to be luxury. It's just getting into,
Yeah,
well,
in
right now it
Toronto,
still
in
is.
Toronto.
Yeah.
But
depending on where in Toronto, yeah.
But back in the day, when you thought about $1 million home, when you were a child, what did you envision $1 million home was going to look like?
Huge. I
Yeah.
imagine like when
Yeah.
you see those luxury homes, this is like $450,000 in Texas in the United States.
Yeah.
Like that's the home I envisioned
Yeah.
at $500,000, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
gone down the pooper now in the GTA.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Richie Rich? The
No.
movie?
No.
It's with Macaulay Culkin. He has like a McDonald's in his house. He has like a
Oh,
basketball
really?
court, a
Yeah,
pool. And I remember being a kid being like, and it was like $1 million. It wasn't crazy. That's what I envisioned $1 million used to look like back in the day.
Well, I feel like when we were kids, like $1 million could get you so much more.
Get
than,
you so much more.
than what,
Yeah,
what
$1 million
it does
in the
now.
city gets you a really awful
'Kay,
semi-detached.
I'm gonna
but-
de-age Ian here
Yeah,
a little
townhouse
bit.
in Mississauga.
Everybody's gonna find out that you're a little baby right now. Do you remember that song? If
not
I
that
had
young.
$1
That
million
young.
dollars, if I had
Yeah.
you remember it?
Yeah, of course I
Okay,
remember that
damn.
song. I'm not that young, man.
Okay,
He's not 5.
If you listen to that song now, you'll laugh because the things that they're talking about, like I'd buy myself a jet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Yep.
so ridiculous.
Yep.
But inflation is down.
Yes.
Apparently, yeah.
This last
It
month.
was like 2.7. And what effect did that have?
Oh, well, the rate cut's next week, no? Or potential rate cut?
Potential rate
Yeah,
cut
yeah,
is
yeah.
next week. So yeah, preface this, we are filming and it is July 18th. And I believe it's on the 24th. Yeah, it's always the
Yeah.
Wednesday.
What do you guys think? Cut?
I think it'll
Increase?
cut. I think it'll go another 0.25%.
1/4%?
Yeah. I think cut too.
Yep.
And the economists are all, there's an 88% chance apparently that
Yeah.
there's going to be a cut.
Yep.
So I know you were right last time.
I was.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same
I like
page.
to toot my own
So
horn.
you are my economist of choice
Yes.
moving forward.
Well, I do have a couple articles for us to debate on right now. Well, not debate, but chat about, because this is a good little chat sesh. So Korea actually cuts the housing market forecast for 2024, despite rising June sales. I think they thought that there was going to be a lot more sales. And we all know if you are an active realtor in the GTA or anywhere,
Yeah.
it's not as busy as it should be.
Correct.
Even with that rate cut in June, like
Yeah.
not much happened.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really affect it. So they're estimating forecast to trade hands this year a 6.1 increase from 2023 rather than what it was at 10.5. So they're estimating, and this is Canada wide, that there's going to be 4% less properties trading hands by the end of the year
Wow.
because it's been that slow.
So the bigger picture, like we're essentially in a buyer's market without any buyers actually buying the properties. Like I know we were talking about the condos in Toronto, but what's
Yeah.
specifically happening out there? Do you know?
In Toronto?
Yeah.
Like
this-
stats wise?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the state of like the overall picture of what's happening with the condo market right now.
I know that there's like the most amount of condos for sale
Yeah.
right now in the history of time.
Yeah.
I
and
was
that
looking,
a lot of them are
yeah,
not moving.
They're not moving.
Yeah.
I was just looking, just in Toronto alone, when you go on MLS, hit Toronto, and just hit condos, there was like 6,400 condos for sale. If you do it all, which includes condo townhouses,
Yeah.
it was like over 7,300 condo townhouses or condos.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not including Durham or York or Halton or Hamilton or any of the anything else. But if you want to go Golden Horseshoe, I would say at least 10,000, pushing 10,000 condos.
Yeah. I pulled up some stats. So everybody watching, it is July 18th today. Toronto's condo market issues reflect broader economic challenges. There's listings have been up by 25% and sales are inching just 5.3%. The current 5-month inventory turnover signals a sluggish pace. So right now they're just swimming in condos. There's certain buildings that have 6 or 7 units that are exactly the same.
Yep.
And there's sellers that are unwilling to let the property go for whatever the buyer is wanting to pay.
Yeah.
So why would a buyer go in and say, sure, I'm going to offer you list price when there's 3 or 4 identical, exactly the same units in the same building?
But
Doesn't
even,
make any sense.
Even to add on to that, what Faye was saying today in our
Oh,
team meeting,
Yeah.
and she's the assignment queen. Like it's people are okay with losing their 20% deposit
Yeah.
in this market for assignments for pre-con. Like
Yeah.
that blows my mind. you're gonna lose, but they're gonna lose more money if they can't close,
Correct.
right?
And they'll get sued by the builder too.
Probably
So
get sued by the builder.
but that's crazy. I think one of the ones she was working on, it was like $130,000 deposit that someone is willing to walk away from.
Yep.
Which is not cheap. It's
Which
a
is
lot of
great
money.
for buyers right now, and that's what
Mhm.
I don't understand. Why aren't buyers jumping on these opportunities?
Yeah.
The condo market is like the sweetest gem right now, where you can get a great deal, and in 5 years you'll be laughing. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think it's in like pretty much all the markets right now. Like if you're in a position to buy, like the market's super slow. You could take your time. Like I was just talking with Christy, and it's like amazing if buyers want to go back and see a property a second time, a third time.
Yeah.
Like in hot markets, you see it once for your half an hour time slot, and then you got to make a decision on whether you want to offer on it or not. Whereas now, like
Yep.
you get to go back, you get to see it a couple more times, determine if it's really the best one for you.
Bring your dad.
yeah,
Bring a home inspector.
yeah, yeah. Get conditions. That too.
Yeah.
That's
Condition
huge as
on
well.
sale is huge too. Again,
Yeah.
you made a few months there where it wasn't, but now it's back.
It's sad that people are losing $130,000
On
of
an
their
assignment.
deposit.
And
Yeah.
they thought usually before, when you were buying pre-con, it was a good investment because you're buying it at market value back then, thinking that it would increase by the time it closes, and now it's almost time for closing and it's decreased significantly.
Yeah. I think everyone's
does
in a
that
little bit of a
work?
different boat. Like some people, like again, like you don't know the specific situation, but I do know like during COVID, a lot of people were being fed advice
Yeah.
that you should just buy this condo
Yeah.
pre-construction and don't worry. Like 6 months before you close on it, you can just assign it to someone else,
Yeah.
which is absolutely terrible advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now, like as you see, you've lost $130,000.
Yeah.
So
Like, I mean,
That
there
was-
there are good pre-con units out there, and I will say that, and there's a lot of just agents that specifically work pre-construction. Like
Mhm.
that's their bread and butter. How are people still buying pre-con when this is happening?
Yeah.
Like, how do you justify selling to a client? This is happening. If that client goes and does their own research, finds out X amount of people are losing all their money.
Yeah.
I think it depends, right? Like it depends on the specific project. Like there are a lot of really good projects that are coming to light. Like I know of a couple in Toronto. And I mean, if someone's like smart and they know that, maybe they can't qualify for the mortgage today, but they can qualify in 4 or 5 years. It's a project they really like. Maybe
Yeah.
it's their first residence and they're going to actually live there.
Yeah.
It does make sense for some people, not
Yeah.
all. But yeah, I get what you're saying with
Yeah.
all the news out there that it
It's
will be a
tough.
little bit more
Yeah. Like,
Like,
challenging
it'd
than
be tough
previous
to just be a
times.
pre-con agent
And
right now.
when these units were being sold a few years ago, they were being priced at what builders were projecting the
Dang.
prices to be.
Yeah.
That wasn't really sitting well with me. So whenever somebody would come to me and ask for a pre-con, I'd be like, hey, well, just to let you know, this isn't priced at today's price. It's priced at what they think it's going to be in 2
Future
years.
value, right?
That was when prices were skyrocketing.
Yep.
Mhm.
So right off the bat, if somebody bought one of those units, those people didn't have a crystal ball. I always say, I don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to give somebody the advice, jump in this, don't worry. By the time it closes, you can assign it. Like I heard that language
Yeah,
going
it's
around
going out.
left, right, center.
Because that's what a lot of people made their living off assignments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it was
Everyone, and if you bought at the right time, it's amazing. But everyone's like a genius, and in a hot market, everyone's like Albert Einstein, right? Like
yeah.
and everyone's listening to them. Like everyone's making money. It's markets like these where like you see people in pain, right? And you're seeing
Yeah.
these situations where people are walking away from their deposits. People
Yeah.
are losing a lot of money. People need to sell
Yeah.
their house.
Yeah.
You know?
And a lot of people, when markets like this happen, the realtors drop off.
Yep.
It's not because they're unable to, because they think, oh, anybody could be a realtor. But in this market, you truly have to be a condo specialist, a residential resale specialist in freehold homes. Then you also need to understand people's finances, what they bought their last home for, what they need to sell for, if they need to get the other house, conditions, all this stuff. And if you're one of those agents that's jumping into a hot market, you don't need to do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
You don't need to know anything. You could just be
Yeah.
writing, because truly you don't need a realtor to actually have a trade happen.
Yep.
They were just those type of realtors. So now you really have to sit with somebody, see the entire ecosystem of what's happening in their life, in the market,
Mm-hmm.
and then make a game plan if you're going to make any type of moves with anybody.
Yeah.
I agree. You have to be a lot more hands-on
Yeah.
in this market. Like we're seeing so many houses obviously sit on the market for longer. You're seeing a lot
Yeah.
more price reductions now. As you said, like a lot more people are entertaining conditions on
Yeah.
the sale of
Yeah.
a buyer's property.
A lot of agents just want offers. We
Yeah.
want offers on our listings.
Yeah.
Weeks go by without showings on
Yeah.
listings, right? That's the
But
market
it's
we're in right now.
also the middle of summer, and it's statistically end of July and August are slower months,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Like I said this before, people just want to enjoy their summers. Kids are going to go back to school in September. If you're not looking to buy or sell right now, you're not looking, like it's not going to happen,
Yep.
right? But those who are going to find the good deals, right? But it is statistically, when you see the charts over the years, like from January to December, it's usually a little bit lower at this time,
Mhm.
and that's inevitable. But yeah, I don't know. Another thing I want to talk about is what might start affecting the next 6 months is mortgage delinquencies.
Okay.
So I found something that said in the first quarter of 2024, according to the credit bureau, a total mortgage balance reaching severe delinquencies, which is 90 days or more without a payment.
Okay.
So people are not paying it for 90 days,
Mhm.
has surpassed $1 billion for the first time,
Wow.
right?
That's huge.
It's huge.
That's a lot. Is
All-
that across Ontario or across Canada?
I believe
I wonder
Ontario.
how many
Okay.
homes that is.
Yeah, Ontario.
Oh, that's Ontario. Okay.
Just Ontario. Yeah, so a missed mortgage payment on average will be larger now relative to a few years ago. So that's crazy too, because like we didn't, at first it was, oh, the interest rates went up and we didn't think that there was going to be a lot of people missing their mortgage payments, but now it's actually happening. I feel like what has happened in the past couple years or year and a half, it's finally catching up to people,
Mhm.
right? So a lot of people are missing their mortgage payments, and it might lead to not foreclosure. Is that foreclosure? Yeah,
Foreclosure when the bank takes
Yeah.
over.
Where the
Yeah.
bank takes over or the lender takes over.
Mhm.
So we might start seeing a lot of those as
Yeah.
well, right? And those are hard too, because if you're putting an offer in on a foreclosure, from what I understand, the seller has the right up until like the day before closing
Yes.
Wow.
to repay everything they've owed, and then the deal is done. Like the buyer, they get their deposit back.
I've heard that as well. It's like
So,
super unlikely if
It's
they've already
super,
defaulted. But
yeah,
yeah,
and
it
that's
is on
why
the
when you're
table.
doing a
happened.
foreclosure, you need
Yeah.
to sell or close like right away. Do like a
Yeah.
30-day
Should do a quick
close.
closing, yeah.
But yeah, so I think we're gonna see a lot of those in the fall.
Yeah.
If that was in the first quarter, so that's
Mhm.
January, February, March.
There's going to be some turbulent times coming up for a bunch of different reasons.
think so.
And there's going to be a little bit of a balancing action happening with the interest rates coming down. But there's going to be a lot of people. I remember even during COVID, like obviously this happens in any market. Well, coming back to that point, we put an offer on a house in Mississauga, and it was literally the week before that somehow they got a miraculous, gift payment to help them not lose their home.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what's crazy
So it
about
did
that.
happen.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was a big amount that they had to come up with.
Yeah,
I think it
yeah.
was like $250,000.
Jeez, that's a
Mhm.
And
lot
they
of-
ended up getting it. And so they didn't
That's
lose their house.
crazy.
and then the bank or the lender has to honor that. They get their payment, then you gotta,
Yeah.
Yeah, then
the lender can't just be like, oh well, I don't want you to have the more. Like they can't do that till the end of the
Yeah.
term,
Yeah.
right? That doesn't.
I think it's like a last Hail Mary because like I know Jeff was saying previously, like people will do their best to try and keep their house. Like no matter what it is, they'll put off like paying their credit cards, they'll put off paying all their bills, all to just make sure
Wow.
that they're meeting their mortgage payments every
Wow.
month. So I feel like when it gets to a point of foreclosure, like that's kind of it, unless you have like a Hail Mary situation like that where you
Yeah.
miraculously get an
Yeah.
insane amount of money
Yeah.
that you can kind of
We'll see.
keep the
We'll
house.
see what happens this fall. I don't know.
I don't think we've
guys.
seen the bottom. I think that we reached like a little Hail Mary. What's it called when there's like a stalemate?
The
or-
lull.
I don't know the word you're looking
Like
for.
well, the prices were coming down significantly.
Downturn?
And now I feel like we've just been kind of
plateaued?
We've
Yeah,
plateaued.
yeah.
But I feel like there's going to be a slightly smaller dip.
I think so too. I think spring 2025 is when we're gonna see a major upwards
Yeah.
trend.
All
Yeah.
depends on the interest rates too. But again, they only affect the variable and the adjustable.
Yeah.
The adjustable rates. So if that's the case, fantastic, because rates will come down. We'll see what happens with the bond yields.
Yeah.
But if the interest rate cuts next week, I think it might give some spunk in the market.
You think so? I don't think so.
Because then the next one would be September,
Yeah.
October, and then December. Right? We have 4 more.
I think like 2 to 3 more rate cuts on the variable rate, and then like a 5-year fixed mortgage at like 4.5%.
Yeah, I see
Would
that. Yep.
Yeah.
I can
Boom,
see
we're
a
back
rate
to-
cut
back
a
to
quarter
where we
next
were.
month,
Yeah.
a pause in September, a quarter in December. So that'll be 0.75 for the year,
Okay.
and then a pause in December. So cut, pause is what
Yeah.
my prediction is.
and then hopefully fixed rates.
Quote me on this, guys.
Okay, yeah. Economist of choice.
You know what? If you're right on this, I'm literally gonna come to you for everything. Yeah, I think that everybody should. We should just, cancel everybody else.
We're gonna
out.
pin this on the Instagram. Alex
do it.
said,
Your prediction.
but has it already been?
So
a half
all
an
this
hour?
stuff is going on. I mean, we've known this.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of see behind the scenes. This
Yeah.
is happening, and then the news articles come out, and
Yeah.
so there's nothing new to us.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't realize that we have the most amount of homelessness, most amount of homes on the market. It's just such a weird time. You know what I mean? In the
Yep.
country that we live in,
Yeah.
all these, foreclosures that are projected to happen. Nobody wants that to happen, but it's just, there's going to be a little bit of a
Rocky road
rocky road here
before
in
it gets-
Canada for a bit.
before it gets better.
Yeah.
Yep.
But what is going on? What's good right now?
Okay, I have another doom and gloom, but I know we gotta wrap this up. But do you remember a couple episodes ago when we were talking about the NAR settlement in the States?
Oh, yeah.
So
How could I forget?
July-
Alex walked in here doing, guess what, guys? I have some awesome news. Today, we're
so
talking about this.
it looks like it's coming to Canada because falling
Gosh.
U.S. commissions could impact the Canadian market. Where was it?
I don't think it is.
In quotes. So we've got two Canadian class action suits. Oh, someone's calling me. Class action suits in the works that look a lot like the American actions. They're similar in a lot of ways. Our systems are so similar that we need to believe that a result of these class actions will inevitably be something that helps change the Canadian landscape for the better. So, I mean, on our next podcast, I'm going to, because I just found this morning while I was being nerdy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see if I can dig into
Yeah.
that a little bit. But
We'll
if
jump on the next
that's coming in, there's two class actions. I want to know where, when, why, how.
Yeah.
I want to know.
I think that the major difference between the U.S. and Canada is there's been certain disclosures that are being made to our clients here in Canada.
Yep.
When we go we do buyer presentations.
Yeah, we were saying, yeah.
We have buyer representation.
Yeah.
And we outline so many different things. Out in the States, it's kind of just like a wild, wild west.
And then in our
They don't-
listing agreement as well, like
Yeah.
when you outline the commission, like it says like you're going to pay the listing brokerage X commission.
Yeah.
And then out of that listing brokerage commission, if a buyer agent cooperates, you'll pay them out of that commission.
Yeah.
I don't know how, like I've
But
never
then
seen a
usually
listing agreement in the
99%
States,
of the
but
time, if the listing agent brings the buyer, then you would have, then the commission is cut to X amount. Like you're not
some agents do.
some,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to just, for the next one, I'm going to look into that. Because you know how nerdy I got with the NAR settlement. So
Yeah, that was, you were like,
I was
think you
in
were,
a wormhole.
Yeah, you even got to a point where you're like, what if the buyers end up doing their own?
Yeah.
But we debunked that, remember?
Maybe a little
Because the buyers don't pay commissions.
Oh, yeah.
bit. They indirectly pay commissions,
yeah.
guys.
They do
Let's not
not
we're not
they
getting into this right now.
indirectly pay commissions.
We're not getting into this right now.
No, they
Yeah.
don't.
Yes, they do.
Stop. Okay.
Yes, they do. Okay, let's wrap it up.
Indirectly, they
gonna
are
do-
buying their house.
They're buying their house. But we get paid from the money in the house.
Okay. We won't get into that.
You guys agree to disagree.
Yeah. This has been fun.
Okay, so much
Yeah,
fun.
this has
Yeah.
When
been
we
awesome.
started this, I knew that it was going to be fun. I knew that it was going to be exciting, but
Yep.
did you ever imagine that we'd get to episode 10 and have 3 viral videos?
Yeah, we have,
Oh, we have three now?
three now.
So we have the 10,000
Yeah.
views, and then we have like over 300,000 views on
Yes.
one, and
Yeah.
then there's another one that's like taken off as well. It's
Interesting.
like
Oh,
8,600.
sick. I knew we were going to get to episode 10, but
I want to
it was
get
nice.
to 1 million views. I want to like go
That'd be sick.
viral.
Yeah.
I want
And
one of ours
I
to
have
go
some
to 1
cool
million.
things that I'm thinking about that I'm going to surprise you guys with over the
Okay.
next few weeks.
Sweet.
Ooh.
But we're going to be getting more and more guests in. I think that's one of the
Yes.
things
Yeah.
that we always wanted to do, but we wanted
Yep.
to set up a little bit of an infrastructure first.
Yeah, I like our vibe, but I
Yeah.
think, our vibe will vibe well with some of our
Yeah.
guests that are coming.
Yeah.
So,
For the people that are listening, if you guys have a guest in mind that you want us to bring on,
Yep.
feel free to let us know.
Yeah.
Questions.
Drop
yeah.
it in the comments.
Keep commenting on our TikToks. We love that. And I love seeing the arguments there. It's fun.
I know. Are you going to bring the baby on as a guest one day?
I
With-
might
with,
bring
like,
him
a face
in.
covered?
Yeah. I don't know if he's napping. He can like rock in the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to
be
ask him
nice.
about what he thinks the future holds
What
for
do you
real
think,
estate.
future host, future baby realtor. Yeah, no, he's coming soon, guys.
That's exciting.
Coming soon.
Coming soon to the
Yeah.
market.
Coming soon to the market.
So my house is gonna be a 2 under 2. It's insane. So
We're
yeah,
almost
let's
good. We're
wrap
good.
it up.
Yeah,
let's
we're
wrap it
set.
up.
Well, that was episode 10, guys.
Yes,
Awesome.
10.
Thanks for
I
tuning in.
love you guys.
Love you guys too.
I miss you guys when we don't get to do it. Like after a
know.
week, I'm like, I need my Alex and Ian
Yeah,
dose.
I know it's been a while, and I didn't make it to the last mastermind, so.
We had a
Yeah.
little chat on Instagram the three-way WhatsApp
Yesterday.
call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, it
This
was
is
cool.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
we should do
Yeah,
that.
we should do that again before the next one.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay.
Bye.
wicked.
Okay, guys,
Thanks
thanks
for
for
tuning
in.
listening. Subscribe.
Oh,
Comment,
Comment,
like,
share. Do it all.
everything.
Let's go.
We're terrible at that. So terrible.